Hi everybody, this is Ellie. Thanks so much for joining me today for a video where I show you how I'm using my Jibun Techo Lite as a memory keeper. I first heard about the Jibun Techo Lite version from Amy Graham at the Badass Valkyrie, and she has a great video on her channel where she kind of flips through it and talks about the features and what she likes about it, so I'll definitely link that below. I had seen Jibun Techos before, but I already had Hobonichis last year, and that was my first year with Hobonichi, so I didn't want to kind of explore any further. But I knew it was out there, and I am a list maker, so the vertical style did intrigue me. And when I saw Amy's flip through, she showed how the monthly pages have the habit tracker built right on that page, and I really liked that idea, so that was kind of what sold me. Okay, let me show you how I have it set up in this cover first, and then I'll do a flip through. So this is a Sojourner, and this is one of the nubuck leathers. This is the olive, and it's absolutely beautiful. You can see it has that kind of suede-like feeling, so you can see the difference when you're rubbing it, and it feels great in the hand. I have a special brown pocket on the front, and I also asked for the pockets inside to be special brown just because I really like the look of the special brown leather, the look and the feel. It's softer than the natural leather, which I also love, but because I was getting the pocket on the front, I do like how they go together. So this size, I'm not even sure exactly what size this is. I had emailed Rowena and asked if she made folio covers that fit the Jibun Techo Lite, and she said yes. And as you can see, it fits beautifully. It does have a little bit of space to grow, which is great because as you'll see, I am chunking this guy up with a lot of stickers and washi tape. So I love this cover. The sticker in the front is from Mona at Ghostpuff, and I love her style. And I just love, I know I've talked about it before, but man, do I love this grumpy face. It just makes me so happy, and I think the colors go with this beautifully. So I don't see myself changing this sticker out of this cover anytime soon. I do actually have one more cover coming for this notebook. I love leather covers. I love trying out different makers and having options to change my notebooks in and out of. So I have a custom cover coming from Maker South that I'm really excited about. And I'm thinking what'll happen is I will probably end up using the Maker South one for the first part of the year because I think it might be a slimmer fit, and then I'll be able to move into this as my notebook starts to grow. But that's all speculation. We'll see how I feel when the cover gets here. I usually just go with what I'm feeling at the time and make sure that I am getting use out of all of these covers that I love. Okay, enough about my love of leather. So I just have a couple of cards here from different shops that I thought are beautiful. I have this sticker from Sojourner that says documenting life as it happens, and I just have it paper clipped here, and I have the Jibun Techo stencil right there. I have this sticker from The Good Place, which makes me so happy every time I see it. And then we move to the yearly index. So I took a page from Sylvia at Write Your Life, and I did glue this page to the kind of front cardstocky page just because it didn't open flat, and there's no need for me to use the 2020 title page. So as you can see, I haven't used this at all yet. I've been thinking about what I want, and I think what I'm going to try and do is use this as a gratitude tracker. I don't plan on making this a daily habit that I have to do, but I like the idea of having it here and being able to jot down a quick note or two whenever the mood strikes me. And I do want to build it into a habit, but I'm working on other habits right now as well, so this will be probably a slower start. It is a small space, but it does have kind of 2 lines in there, and I do have fairly small writing, so I think space shouldn't be a problem, but I'll see how it feels to write down kind of just 1 or 2 words because that's something I haven't done in terms of gratitude before. So this just has 2020 and the 2021 overview, and then it says My Dream 2020. So on this page here, I've mentioned before that I am using Power Sheets for the first time this year. So after I did all the prep work and came up with my overall goals, I put them in my bullet journal, and I also kept them in this notebook here. So I have 8 of them, my word for 2020, and I did go through my sticker collection to choose a sticker that goes with each goal. So I'm really happy with how this spread turned out. I'm really hoping that this notebook as a memory keeper will contain like 2020 in a snapshot. That's what my mentality was when I was setting it up, and is what I'm thinking of as I fill it in and use it. So then we get into the list pages, and I really like this feature of the Jibun Techo. I like that I don't have to make any lists or collections myself. All I have to do is title them. So I have a list of books here. So I plan to write the title and the day that I finish them. Once I finish any books, I've gotten off to a slow start this year. Here, I'm going to write TV shows that I really am loving and enjoying this year. I have The Good Place on this list. We just finished the series a couple of weeks ago, and please let me know if any of you have watched it and loved it, because this is one of my all-time favorite shows, and the ending was, in my opinion, just perfect. Movies that I've watched one so far. Again, I want to put the date for that one. I have music and podcasts. So I think I'm going to keep music on this side and podcasts on this side. And those are the only lists that I've made so far. I do still have the space to include some more lists, but nothing came to mind when I was setting this up, and I'm okay with that. I just used this last page before December's calendar for my pen tests, because this is my first time in a Jibun Techo, and although I heard they changed their paper this year, for me, I had nothing to compare it to, so I do like the paper. It's different than the Tombow River paper, but it's still nice and thin, and I don't know, has that lovely sound when you're flipping pages. So this was good. I was just able to see which things do bleed through. And what I'm using for the most part in here are Fineliners and ballpoint pens. So this Tombow in the 01 size, the mono drawing pen, is what I use the most. And then if I want any kind of finer work, I'll either use my 0.5 Jetstream or a Micron Fineliner in 0.005. So for January, I really had no idea what to do with this calendar. And I thought, well, I'm going to use this habit tracker. Actually, let me back up for a minute. When I bought this, I intended on using it as a social media planner. I believe that's something Amy Graham had mentioned, and I thought, yes, it's a wonderful idea. I love the idea of being able to track when I post on Instagram and YouTube, and I can even write like the specific titles of videos. But what ended up happening is I flipped through this, and this space here, all this lovely space, I couldn't think of how I would use it in terms of a social media setup, and I wanted to figure out a way that I could really make the most use out of this space. So then I decided I would try to use it as a memory keeper. Last year I did my memory keeping in my Hobonichi. This year my Hobonichi is my wellness and finance tracker, and I'll probably show that setup or talk a little bit more about that in a different video. But anyways, so I made that decision and had no idea what I wanted to do with this space. So I had tried to do some tracking, but I didn't do it for the whole month, and it just kind of fell by the wayside. But I did decide for this month that I'm going to use the monthly calendar to just write something about that day that made me happy, or just something about that day, period. I did this last year in my journal, but I figure since I want this to contain my picture of 2020, this would be the perfect spot to put it. Again, I'm happy to use stickers and washi tape. And because I'm also using the power sheets, I do have specific habits or things that I'm tracking on a daily or monthly basis. So I've included some of them here because I do like to see this visual. And on the Power Sheets Tending List page, you also get to choose a quote. So I write that quote here too. So this works in tandem with my Power Sheets. And it's a little repetitive, but I really like kind of the satisfaction of coloring in something once I've done it. So I really don't mind. And if it becomes too tedious at some point, then I'll just adjust at the time. So I'm really happy with how this has been going, and I think it's working, and it's likely how I'll continue. Then we move into the weeklies, which, as I mentioned, are vertical. I don't plan before January. I'm happy to have January to December in here. This Jibun Techo is a memory keeper. I'm writing down things that happened that day, big things and tiny things, just whatever stood out to me. I'm using stickers to decorate, and I'm having a lot of fun. So I don't do this every day. It's rare that I do it on a daily basis, actually. I might have an hour on a Wednesday or something, and I'll sit down and I'll start playing and doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or I might just have time on Sunday and do the entire week. I do have my pocket-sized bullet journal, and everything that's in here comes from these pages here. Like, I just write quick jot notes, or even my task list. You know, if I write down, film video, then I'll be able to put a big sticker like that in here. So I'm really big on kind of using my notebooks in tandem, and there's quite a bit of overlap, which I wasn't sure if that would bother me or become, like I mentioned, too tedious or annoying, but so far so good. You'll see a lot of stickers in here. I'm sorry, I probably won't be able to mention every sticker shop that I've purchased from, because there are a lot, and I got some samples when I went to the planner conference in September. So suffice it to say, I love stickers, and I love having a dedicated place to use them. So here I was still kind of playing around, and I didn't do any sort of decoration on these areas. Here I've started using washi and writing a quote here. So, you know, when I was working on my power sheets prep, I like to keep track of TV that I'm watching with my partner or my family. Sometimes I'll post Instagram and YouTube video things in here. Sometimes I won't. It just depends. On this spread, I started tracking again what I'm reading, what I'm listening to, and I left a space for a quote. I did this last year when I did memory keeping in my Hobonichi weeks, and I loved it. I love just kind of seeing what I've been reading and what I've been listening to and enjoying, so it's great. I decided to use these spaces up here for any special occasions, birthdays or holidays, so that's great. This one I kind of went with a wintry spread. Again, power sheets. I try and practice my lettering. When I practice my brush lettering, I'm using the Pentel sign pen. There's a couple of brush pens that worked just fine in here. The Tombows worked. They didn't bleed through in here. The mild liners were great. So the Tombow dual brush pens were great. The only thing is that mine are a little bit older, so I can't brush letter very small. Plus, I'm just not great at brush lettering. I need more practice. So that's why I don't use these. Same with the mild liners. They're just a little too big. But the Pentel, I find, works pretty well. It's definitely user error if it's not working well. So yeah, the Pentel is great, and I'm playing around with using that. I also really like to do different lettering styles. It's a great way for me to practice my hand lettering. And again, just a ton of fun. I'll put appointments sometimes. I don't put every appointment necessarily. This is when I finished The Good Place, and this was the title of the final episode. This one I didn't get a chance to do the side piece here with reading and listening to, but that's okay. Got to use some crafting stickers here. And that brings us to this week, which is a pink week in honor of Valentine's Day. And I have my boxes here ready to go, so I'll be able to fill those in after. I'm really, really happy with how this is working. It's fun, it's easy, and I really think it'll be fun to flip through. I love my bullet journal, like all the same information is there. I do really like seeing this at a glance, seeing a week at a glance, and beyond that, seeing a month at a glance eventually. The Jibun Techo Lite also comes with some back pages here, some back notes pages. I don't have a use for them right now, but I guess I'll just see what comes up organically. I'm kind of thinking that if there are any special occasions or events or anything that I want to write like a little paragraph about, I can put that in here, or maybe I'll even print out some pictures and stick them in here for the year. At the end here, there's a looking back on 2020, and they have 2 pages here and a section for each month. I'm not sure what this is for at the bottom, but I know I'll get good use out of this as well. I'm looking forward to kind of writing maybe a highlight for each month on one of these pages, and on another page, I don't know, maybe something that I'm proud of in terms of self-growth. Yeah, I think that'll be good. That's something I've been actively working on. If you've watched any of my other videos, it all kind of goes together with leaning into discomfort. So maybe if I have any areas that I think I've really grown in or I've done some tangible work on, I can include that here. I think that'll be a nice counterpart to like the external things that are happening in my life and the internal things that are happening in my life. And that's it. In the back, I have a Jibun Techo, the mini, I'm not sure what this is called. I will link it, the mini sleeve, and I just have a couple of washi cards that I made in here and Breeze card from Documented Journey. This top pocket is a little bit slimmer, so Breeze card fit absolutely perfectly in there, plus it's beautiful, so it all worked out. And then I just have a card here from Michael's to cut my washi tape with. I'm really enjoying using this Jibun Techo Lite as a memory keeper, and I also really enjoy the process of back planning. I'd never heard the term back planning until I was fully immersed in the planner community, and I mean, I've been using planners and agendas since elementary school. Of course, if I forgot to write something down, I'd always go back and just, jot down if I went to a movie or something happened, but I didn't know there was a term for that. And when I did learn about it, I just didn't know if that was something I would enjoy or not. I kind of thought, why bother going back over stuff that's already happened, especially if I already have it jotted down in my bullet journal. But it turns out I absolutely love it. So when I'm working in this, I like to pull out my sticker book, put on some instrumental music, and play around. And it's a really, really enjoyable part of my week. If you do any memory keeping, I'd love to hear how you do it, what setup you use, if you use stickers or pen and paper or anything like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.